Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host, Paul.
It's like he's here in the room with me.
Hey, welcome to... He's got this
Every time he gets a little more piratey.
Okay. He's got that little... Oh, yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show.
I'm your host, Paul.
Hardy mateys.
We're gonna watch the biggest WTF questions from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. From Paul.
Hey, Pirate Paul.
Pirate Paul. Pirate Paul.
Pirate Paul!
Leave a like and subscribe to him. He's struggling these days, and he could use the help.
Toss him some pity.
Don't worry, Paul. After this reaction, I'll send you the thumb options I have and be like, which one do you think's the best?
Okay, so Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness takes us on a 2-hour trip through alternate universes in the pursuit of getting America Chavez the f*** away from Wanda. Hide your wife, hide your kids, because someone is gonna have to raise them, and I have to say that I absolutely love the film. I know it's very divisive, with people saying the plot is messy, and that there's some disappointing aspects in terms of things like the Illuminati, but I had a complete blast. So I thought I'd revisit the film, discuss some of the big questions people have about the character turns, the plot holes, and just general issues that I see popping up. This video is going to include things like why Wanda's kids are the same even though Vision isn't there, where the deadbeat bot is, why Reed is the dumbest, smartest man on Earth, why Gamora didn't cause an incursion, and basically as many questions as I can fit into one video before Wanda shows up to take my twins away.
That's a nightmare.
Yay! Now it's full spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the movie and that intro didn't ruin it for you, then please hit the green light and stop the video. If you enjoy our breakdown, we'd love you in every universe if you decide to like and subscribe, and with that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Doctor Strange 2. Okay, so the first big thing I want to discuss is why Wanda's kids are the same in the 8-8 universe when she created them using magic in WandaVision. Surely they wouldn't be exactly the same because the ones in the alternate reality were conceived the old-fashioned way, whereas the ones in the Hex just showed up out of nowhere, like those f***s that post full cam spoiler clips on YouTube 2 days before the film releases.
Oh, man.
I know who you are. Now it is pretty confusing unless we take it that the Westview ones weren't who came first. Billy and Tommy are roughly about 10 years old, I think, and therefore they would have had to have been alive for that length of time if they're real. WandaVision only happened recently in terms of the MCU timeline, and therefore they would have been created after the real ones in the alternate universe. If we look at the 8-8 in general, they're far more advanced than the 616 timeline, and that's because the snap never happened, and therefore they had 5 years of developing things. This is why we see a Reed Richards who's at the height of his powers, where we haven't even had him show up in the 616 yet. They might
That's
even be
crucial
more than
5
5
years
ahead, but either way you slice it up, there's definitely a major time difference in terms of how advanced they are.
Right,
Now, how Wanda managed to make two kids that are exactly the same is explained in the movie through them discussing dreams.
Dreams.
We learn that one of the dreams that the person's actually seen their alternate self in another reality.
Yes.
Therefore, in 616, Wanda would have likely dreamed about her alternate self, met her kids that way, and then subconsciously brought them to life.
That's a really great call. Really great call, Paul. Paul with the great calls, and then my thoughts fall off the wall. Off the wall. Yeah, that was just really solid because of everything he said.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't even entertained it, but I'm like, if
I don't know why I paused the video. I was
if
like,
Wanda was dreaming of the kids at any point, that would give her perfect subconscious,
vision.
Material vision, yes, in order to concoct the perfect replica children.
Yeah, I thought the kids are 10 years old.
Yes.
But the snap caused, what, like a 5-year delay?
So they should be 15.
They should be like 15 years old then, by the time they get to this universe.
In this...
Some stuff is still not making any sense, Paul.
Yeah, you're supposed to fix the movie, Paul.
There was one theory that I think I did get right about how she would have a connection in some way to this other multiversal Wanda, which allowed her to conjure up the kids in our Earth. And so, yeah, I win. I win there.
MVP of the movie.
Me.
We learn that in every other reality that Wanda is with her kids, whereas in the 616 she isn't, so therefore she would have definitely encountered them at several points. And that kind of segues me into the next point, which is, who is the daddy? Whilst it would be easy to say Vision, unfortunately,
and what does he do?
He exists in the 838 universe, and even if he does, the events of WandaVision definitely didn't happen. Now, we never meet Tony Stark in this reality, and therefore it's unlikely that he actually exists there. However, we do meet Ultron bots, which is why everyone on the internet thought that Tom Cruise could show up as Superior Iron Man. However, I don't think that these were created by the character, and instead I believe that Reed Richards was the person behind them. Dubbed the smartest man on Earth, if he really is that, then he probably created them without the flaws, and the main Ultron wouldn't carry aspects of the personality that Tony has. So Reed likely figured it all out, and because Ultron works, he never tried to make Vision like what we saw in Age of Ultron. However, even if the events of Age of Ultron did somewhat happen and we got a version of Vision, his time with Wanda would have been a lot different. In the movie, we learn that the Illuminati killed Thanos on Titan, and with this happening, it means that he never would have gone to Earth and ripped the Mind Stone out of Vision's head. Because this didn't happen, Wanda would have never grieved him, created the Hex, and then become the Scarlet Witch. So Ultron, working as intended, changes the course of the MCU, and instead I think that Billy and Tommy's dad are probably just some random guy.
It's Ultron.
Is a nice message, I suppose. Now,
Well, I don't know. I feel like it kind of contradicts the rules a little bit if there's not a Tony Stark, because the thing that made America Chavez special is the fact that she's the only one in all the universes. There is only one America Chavez, where with these multiverses, a big part of the point is that we all exist just in different universes and such. So the Tommy and Billy thing, I think, can be explained away, like you said, with the snap. But Tony Stark, though, I think he would have to exist in another universe. And even with What If, as they established, there's a Tony Stark in every universe.
Maybe that's it. Maybe this one's just long since dead because apparently they just want to kill him in every
died
single
in every
thing.
What If one. So yeah, I mean, maybe we just died.
Iron Man died off screen.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange too.
we're going even further into a segue from this to talk about why the Illuminati don't care about Wanda, even though Strange tries to desperately warn them that she's coming to matrix their mouths.
Mordo
That's because,
knows
as
too.
they say, in their reality, Strange is the biggest threat. After dreamwalking too much, Supreme Strange caused an incursion that killed trillions of people because it wiped out an entire reality. Thus, Wanda isn't as big of a threat, even though we as the viewers know how dangerous she is. This also kind of ties into why they don't really care, and at one point Captain Marvel even says that they can handle Strange's little witch. Now, because all of the prior events like Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and WandaVision never happened, their Wanda is pretty depowered. It'll probably be about Age of Ultron level, which is why they think they're fine just sending lots of Ultron bots after her, as she was pretty scared of them in that film. In the comics, the arrogance and hubris of the Illuminati always led to their downfall, and they just don't see Wanda as a threat to them because they're used to dealing with their Wanda. They've probably also looked into other realities and have seen that in 99.9% of them, that she's just a full-time yummy mummy who spends most of her days making her kids ice creams. So they're just like, meh.
That's all those kids care about is ice cream.
This arrogance and underestimation of her is why they wade into the battle completely unprepared, and why Reed even tells her about Black Bolt's power. Because they're pretty idiotic, a lot of fans have said that it's a wasted opportunity to introduce them like this, and I do kinda agree with them on some level. However, the whole point of them is to make us think that Wanda has finally met her match, but she completely overpowers them. They are supposed to represent the best team on one of the best Earths, and the fact that Wanda turns them into pasta just elevates the threat.
Wanda pasta.
But wait a minute. I've seen it twice now. And Mordo, when he has his first scene and he's, doing, another exposition dump. Explaining, talking about dream walking, and he understands what the Scarlet Witch is, and he's part of the Illuminati Council. You'd think that he would take this situation incredibly serious, though.
You had one job, Mordo.
He's the sorcerer on the Illuminati.
He's the guy
He'd
who's
be the one to
know.
take this serious.
Yeah. And if they have the Darkhold in this universe, then you think he would especially have cause to know.
Elizabeth Olsen kind of referred to Scarlet Witch using this other Wanda as using the body like a bad car in a way. So we decide that the limitations that she's not in her body, she's in a less oiled version of her body, so it's not capable of doing as much as our universe's Wanda could do. You just imagine what our universe's Wanda could do?
Oh, man.
If this other Wanda, supposedly not as strong.
Yeah. It's good that she wound up in this nerfed-ass Wanda.
Yeah.
So if the Scarlet Witch came through on her own, then that would be an even nastier sequence with the Illuminati.
I know. She would have been like, you are now secreting the insides of you through your...
Yeah. It'd be like a Cronenberg movie.
I know a lot of chatter online is about how we waited years for Professor X, and also John Krasinski to show up as Mr. Fantastic. To throw them away seems pretty stupid, but I believe in my heart of hearts that all these characters will be back in some form or another. Disney of course acquired 20th Century Fox, so they'll likely be doing an X-Men movie soon. We know that a Fantastic Four is right around the corner. Captain Carter is confirmed to show up in Season 2 of What If. Maria will probably be back in some form or another in the Marvels, and Black Bolt back in another Earth. So the majority of these characters will
Justice
return
for
in
Black
upcoming
Bolt.
projects either centered around them or with them in the background for like 2 seconds. Now, was the Illuminati's inclusion disappointing? It kind of depends if you're more bothered about the cameos than what they're supposed to represent. But let me know below exactly what you think.
We did a whole video about it.
Find out here.
Which massively pulls from the comics. In the source material, what happens is that 2 worlds start to move towards each other on a collision course that will destroy both of them.
This is what
Those
it's like
other
when worlds
have to either accept
collide.
their fate or fight to the death until they destroy the other reality, which massively ties into the Secret Wars event. This will likely be the big arc that's coming around the corner, and we discover that if one enters another universe through dreamwalking, that it will start to create a footprint there. This will eventually cause an incursion, and that will destroy the reality. Now this is very much why Strange and Christine can't be together, even though the pair both have feelings for one another. If they were to live in a reality together, it would eventually pull either the 616 or 838 towards it, which would lead to a path of destruction. So they say goodbye at the end, with Strange saying he loves her in every universe. I'm not crying, you're crying. Now the reason that America Chavez and Clea
it's
can do
okay to
this
cry.
is because neither use the Darkhold to dreamwalk. As we see, Clea cuts open reality into the dark dimension, so she can enter and exit whatever universe she wants to this way. We also discover that America is the only version of herself that exists in the entire multiverse. Her just being her means there's no one for her to puppet in another reality, and therefore no incursions will be caused.
Okay, so the incursions only happen via the dream walking. Is that what I'm getting at here? Is this what I'm trying to understand?
I think.
So wouldn't Wanda's involvement with going to 838 cause the incursion?
Yeah, you would think,
Or-
unless it's also got to do with like Strange 616 being an 838 and maybe 616 is being pulled toward him, but it seems like dreamwalking certainly exacerbates things.
But then why don't the events of No Way Home cause incursions?
Because that was originally supposed to come after this.
What about the events of when Loki and Sylvie sometimes go to other universes?
You know, it's fine because he's a god. They're gonna have to come out with some kind of pamphlet that just linearly explains the multiverse through all these different connected stories.
Somehow asking the questions has led to more questions, Paul.
The multiverse has become the X-Men continuity of the MCU.
There's actually another similarity with the Darkhold, the Book of Ashanti, and America that we learn about in the film. We discover that the Darkhold was created for the Scarlet Witch, and even see statues of Tommy and Billy at the fortress later on. Cthulhu created this in every universe to bring about the prophesied Scarlet Witch, and that is why there's a Wanda and Darkhold in every reality. However, there's only one Book of Ashanti because there's only one America. Both
So
very
there
much
could be
represent
more
their own
Scarlet
books,
Witches?
and when we see the pages of Ashanti open, there's even a star there like what America has. Now the reason Gamora doesn't
Nice
cause
catch.
an incursion in Endgame is because technically she's from the same reality as the one that died. The events of Loki hadn't really transpired at that point, and therefore every time there was a branch timeline created, the TVA shut it down. They also said in Loki that Endgame was meant to happen the way it did, so they wouldn't ever wipe out Gamora. She comes from 2014 in that reality, and therefore when her past self travels to the future, it doesn't create an incursion because she's still from the 616. This is the same with Steve Rogers, who used the quantum tunnel to travel back through time in the 616 reality, and it was from here that he created a branch timeline with Peggy Carter. The way light is used in the film also reflects other worlds, which is why America's has different colours in it because it's on a different colour spectrum, whereas the 616 looks the same throughout. Now, a major criticism I've seen about the film is that it undoes
Fascinating.
Wanda's arc in WandaVision. Personally, I don't really see that as being true, and in the post-credit scene, we left her on her own studying the Darkhold, looking for her kids. We pick up with her studying the Darkhold, looking for her kids, and though it's getting compared to Daenerys from Game of Thrones, I think there's actually way more setup here. Wanda is also corrupted by the Darkhold, which is why she's not really that reasonable anymore, and if you can accept that Sinister Strange was turned evil by it, then you can accept that Wanda was too. I'm telling you, you'll accept it. Remember, this is a book that prophesies the rise of the Scarlet Witch, and thus it was written purely with the intent of corrupting her in order to turn her into someone that would rule the entire multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do feel that way. While I think there's a middle chunk, it doesn't feel entirely disjointed to me to not fill in that middle chunk ourselves, because there's clearly a time jump here from the post-credit scene of her doing the Darkhold, which we know is not a no-no. You don't want to do Darkhold. Then she hears her children, so she's been really experimenting with it, and now she really understands that there's a possibility to somehow attain her children, and the Darkhold's evil. I don't know, I feel like the movie laid it out pretty clear to me. I thought it made sense.
I feel like there are scenes and supplemental moments that you could show, but I feel like the progression makes sense coming out of WandaVision. You know,
Yeah.
you could easily extrapolate that this is where it might go, and you can easily see the road that led us here if you look back at that show.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole stinger of WandaVision is supposed to suggest a sinister turn.
Now, her dying at the end could also explain how we're getting the Disney Plus series Agatha House of Harkness. At the end of WandaVision, Wanda trapped Agatha in an illusion, but with her apparent death at the film's close, we could see Agatha breaking out of this, which will lead into
good
her
point.
solo series. The film very much brings her
Best
close
argument
to
for a
Wanda's
Wanda
arc,
death.
but we could definitely see her back at some point.
Good point.
Now, it also does this with Strange, who very much grows as a character throughout the film. Early on, Christine says that he always has to be the one holding the knife, which is echoed by her A38 counterpart. However, come the end of the film, he finally decides to hand things over to America rather than taking her power. He no longer has to be the one holding the knife, and instead can now trust others.
He did let Tony Stark sacrifice himself.
It's true. It's cold.
He wasn't holding the knife then.
That's true. He let Tony hold the knife for Thanos. What a generous guy.
So, what's this whole thing about? You always have to do everything yourself. What?
There's that one time, if you'll recall, I got out of the way so that Tony could bring everybody back and die. So I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Him fixing the watch in the final few scenes also represents a lot of things for the character. The first film ended with Strange staring at the watch in the Sanctorum, accepting that he was broken but still powering through it. However, this film ends with him repairing it, showing how he's very much overcame the internal issues he had over losing Christine. We're also introduced to Clea in the post-credit scene, who actually ends up becoming his wife in the comics. I guess
Betty
as one
White?
portal closes, another one opens, and it's a great way to take the character. Now lastly, does Wanda get back on the lunchbox? Nope, and that's the video. We didn't cover the post-credit scene in this one, as we already have a big breakdown on it, and that'll be linked on screen right now if you want to go and check it out.
You're a good man, Paulie. You're a good man.
Thank you, Paul.
What I learned is that he can't have Rachel McAdams, so instead he's getting an upgrade to Charlize Theron. Or a
right.
downgrade, depending on your preferences. So tell us in the comments below. Is Charlize Theron an upgrade for you, or a downgrade? Or right on the money?
A lateral move.
Guys, subscribe to Heavy Spoilers. He deserves to be at 1 million subscribers sooner than later. Hit that like button, and yeah, this led to more questions.
Yep.
But I answered a couple of really big ones. Yeah. I answered questions to things I didn't even really have a question about.
See?
I'm like, it does answer that question.
Providing a valuable service. Questions you didn't even know were there.
Hey, let's do a page. Tyler Haig. Tyler, my man, I want to go through the multiverse to see all the different Tylers that are out there.
Multiverse of Tyler.
In one universe, Tyler is the president of the United States.
Ooh.
And he lets everyone have teddy bears.
Boom.
I'm like, wow, you're the greatest president ever, while everyone demands healthcare benefits. And then in another universe, Tyler is a postal worker, constantly late to delivering mail, and gets fired from his job, leading to him having to room in his mother's basement. And then in another universe, Tyler is a UFC cage fighter who then faithfully gets injured, rushing to the hospital, has a brain aneurysm. It's not pleasant. And there's this other universe where Tyler, he's just walking and then gets hit by a car.
Forever. Just in a loop.
It's like that Meet Joe Black moment. And then in another universe, Tyler is sleeping. Then a guy comes in.
Oh no.
Drop kicks him in the head. Brain aneurysm.
That's a fixed point.
And then in another universe, Tyler's taking a shower. Then his skin melts
Oh,
due
no.
to the water becoming too hot. There's something happening in
Hot
these
water
universes, man,
universe.
Tyler. I'm sorry for the events, but in our universe, you get to live. and not get ostracized by the United States citizens of America.
Absolutely not.
Get accepted.
That's right, dude.
So, thank you for being you, Tyler. Hake.